Happy to be here, man. Good to see you.
It's good to see my guy. Welcome, Pendulum Inc. This is our legendary guest class here at Pendulum Inc. For those of you who have been here for 2 years now, you guys know that we have multiple guests that pull up from Method Man to Twister
Mm,
to Inspect the Deck to Ransom,
mm.
Master Ace, Big Daddy Kane, Bun B. We've had a multitude of guests, but this is a very special legendary guest that we have here today. Not only is this a prominent figure in lyricism over the for the past, if I'm being honest, 19 years.
Mm.
This is this is a gentleman who representing Riverside. Is it Riverside? Is that where you from?
No, I'm
Bro?
from the Bay Area, Richmond,
Bay
California.
Area, Bay Area, Bay Area. Pardon me, Bay Area, California. So the roots there with Sway, uh, being half of a member of Frontline. Obviously, his album that came out, Olive Branch, which is crazy. The constant content that this brother puts out, the constant, not just content from a production standpoint, but the content of what he puts out is extremely high level. The poignancy in his lyricism, the uh, the aggression in the message, and the virality in what he puts out when he decides to go up to radio stations and get crazy. I need everybody that has their camera on. And if you want to put your camera on, put your camera on, throw your L's in the air one time. Not only for the name Locksmith, but also for long live lyricism, for my brother, the legend of California, Locksmith. What's up, brother?
Man, thank you, thank you. Appreciate that, Mickey. That means a lot coming from you. I've watched your career closely over the years. Feel like we kind of was coming up at the same time. I think I probably met you probably damn near 20 years ago, probably about 18 years ago.
Yep, yep.
But I just think what you guys are doing in this with this platform, I just think it's amazing, and happy that you asked me up as a guest, and I'm at your disposal. And yeah, man, thank you for the warm welcome.
Absolutely. And for those that don't know, I mean, right now, this looks like, this might be the second most biggest class that we've had, I think, since maybe
Oh,
Ab
no.
Soul. So many of the students here are excited to partake in this legendary guest class. So how we do this is we have our professors ask questions pertaining to you and your career. I
Mhm.
will set it off. All of the questions will be framed around lyricism
Mm.
and anything and everything to do with the craft of what we do. There will be no controversial questions. There will be nothing like that. Everything will be framed around your craft and how you put what you put together.
Okay.
So I teach the advanced rhythm and style course here at Pendulum Inc. And what that is basically being able to uh, break outside of your comfort zone when you're creating your music
Hmm.
and how you deliver to specific records, right? Everything doesn't and should not sound the same.
Mm.
So, what I want to ask you, Locke, tonight is Professor Locke, actually.
Mm.
Professor Locksmith, how do you approach your uh, your beats when you finally get a chance to get a record, and how do you differentiate between what style of flow and delivery you're going to use between
Mm.
each record?
Okay, man, that's a good question. So basically, you're saying, let me just make sure I understand the question. Once I have a beat that
Mm-hmm.
moves me, like I've decided, like, yo, I like this beat, or I hear whatever this beat is, whatever it is, I decide I'm gonna do something on this.
Yes, yes,
Um, uh, and you're asking me, how do I decide how to approach it, how to attack
yeah,
it, how to maneuver it?
yes, yes.
Um, it's really a feeling, man. I can't, a lot of times sometimes it can be the beat itself, and then sometimes it can be how I'm feeling. I try not to force my thoughts and because sometimes I have an idea, especially early on when I first was kind of learning how to rap, or I feel like I'm still learning, but when you're first kind of a little bit newer to it, you have an idea and you want the idea to fit to the beat. So you're like, like you heard something, you saw something, or there's a certain beat that this beat might sound like something you heard from somebody else. And you're like, oh, this sounds like this J. Cole beat, or this sounds like this Nas song, and you want to rap like Nas on this beat. You know, that's what I used to do. Or even I do it subconsciously, even sometimes to this day, but sometimes I have to tell myself, no, what is a beat telling you to do? Usually, and for me, that comes with confidence, being confident in myself and knowing like, okay, the beat is going to tell me what to do. If I just let this beat guide me, the beat will tell me. But if I have a preconceived notion of what I feel like I gotta do, sometimes that can work out, but that can be, that can be a little tricky. I feel like for the most part, let the beat do what it's supposed to do, and it'll kind of tell you what to do. So, and that means finding the pockets, sometimes even finding the subject matter. There's an emotion that certain beats bring out, um, and you just let it kind of dictate to you. But yeah, I just try to be open-minded and open-spirited, open-hearted, or whatever you want to call it, and don't try to force my preconceived what I feel like I'm supposed to do, or what, because sometimes I might be in a mood of like, I want to talk about this, and then a producer or somebody I'm working with give me all these beats. I'm like, now I'm trying to force what I already felt on these beats that may not necessarily be what that is. So sometimes I got to step away. Sometimes you got to know, like, okay, it doesn't mean that I'm not dope or I'm not good right now. It's just that whatever is the frequency that I'm on ain't in tune with this frequency of this beat. So it's just knowing when to like kind of step back. But that takes understanding, confidence in yourself. You know what I mean? It took me a while to kind of know that, be like, nah, I'm not doing that right now. But at the end of the day, I still feel like I'm at the point as an artist where I'm confident enough to pretty much any beat, I know I can do something that's going to be decent. You know what I mean? That's going to be good. But whether it's going to invoke the best out of me and what I really want to do, sometimes the frequencies need to be lined up. You know what I mean? That's how I kind of look at it. I don't know if that answered the question exactly, but that's kind of how I maneuver in that space.
It answered the question perfectly, and I think all of the people in the chat are like, "Wow, we just started, and there's so many gems that you're dropping." So yes, that answered the question
For
perfectly.
sure.
Next question is going to be coming from Professor Chilla Jones. It's on you, brother.
That's a locksmith. What's good, bro?
What's up, family?
Chilling, chilling, chilling. Let's get into it. You recently dropped a freestyle on Sway in the Morning. Um, which if y'all haven't heard it, tap into that shortly after this lecture. It's 10 minutes of craziness. But it's full of what we would consider to be called advanced writing techniques. Um, so naturally, as a battle rapper, my question is, how much has your history as a battle rapper influenced your style? And what's your mentality when you visit the Sways, the LA Leakers, the Funk Flexes of the world, to drop bars for the masses?
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to say this before we go forward. I don't want to mislead. I'm not as advanced in the jargon as you guys are. Like, because I know sometimes I'll be seeing Mickey be posting stuff. He'd be like, yo, this is called a double. I'll be like, yo, I don't even know what that was called. You know what I'm saying? I just been doing this shit for so long that I just kind of know what certain things are. Like, I didn't even know what a double entendre was, but I knew I was doing it until like years later. And people was like, oh, that's a double entendre, or this kind of scheme or that kind of scheme. I didn't know about those stuff. So I'm kind of like relearning the name of the stuff. But I think it's so dope that we are categorizing and understanding, because this is what hip hop and specifically lyricism or emceeing within hip hop need. So I think that's amazing. So I just want to acknowledge that. So if I don't say the certain things, I might not be saying things correctly, but I'm trying to illustrate it the best I can to
Gotcha.
for the understanding. But so you're saying, I'm so sorry. So you had two questions. You was like, how did the
Yeah.
battle?
So how does your history as a battle rapper influenced your style,
Mhm.
if it has? And then
Okay.
secondly, what's your mentality when you visit LA Leakers and Sway and Flex? And like obviously you're going up there to I feel like you're probably going up there to say something, to prove a
Mm.
point, to get
Yeah.
something off your chest. But what's your mentality when you walk into those situations?
Okay, yeah, that's so the first part, battle rapping, that's interesting. How did battle rapping? I don't know. All right, so I'm just gonna put it in context for my dealings with battle rap.
Of course. Hmm.
I didn't start off battle rapping, but I stumbled into it. And I'm talking about, I want to say probably the first battle rap I did was maybe 2001, maybe 2000, somewhere between 99 and 2001. It had to be around then. And I'll just give a little bit of a brief story on it. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this, the professors. I know Mickey is the source unsigned hype, right? Everybody wanted to be an unsigned hype. And this was the first battle rap I had ever really did. The source had unsigned hype. I sent them my unsigned hype. I was in a group at that time. We sent out our little demo. You know what I'm saying? Sent it in us because we want to get on unsigned hype. That's like a dream come true. Biggie, Mobb Deep, everybody. And back in the day, the source had their number in the magazine. You could call them. So we looking every week. We like, man, every month. Oh, we ain't in it. Why we haven't won unsigned hype? We know we the hottest shit. Like, why, anyway. So I actually called one of them. He was like, yo, man, yo, you the kids from California? Oh, yeah, your shit is dope. But we actually got this guy. He's from Detroit. He just, he's working with Dr. Dre. He's actually gonna win. He's this white kid. And we like, yo, what? This white kid, he can't be better than us. You know what I mean? But that obviously, that became Eminem. He was obviously well deserving. But they was like, but yo, if you want to be a part of Unsigned Hype, we're coming to your city. So I was like, okay. There's like, yo, we'll be in the Bay Area. We're gonna be in Hayward, California, at this mall. You have to be there at 10 a.m. on this date. We're like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm thinking we're gonna show up, play our demo, and they'll decide who's the best people. We get up there. No, it's the Source Unsigned Hype battle. At this point, I had never been in a battle before. I didn't really, I think maybe I had been in like, kind of quasi battles, you know what I'm saying? But nothing organized, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I had only been rapping for maybe 2 years, really, or maybe, anyway, they was like, yo, sign your name up. Let's get the balance. So I just kind of stumbled into it. The rhymes weren't complex. It was mostly, and obviously these were complete off the dome freestyle battles. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because you didn't know who you were battling. It was over a beat. So it's much different than what would evolve into like, I call it like the smack era. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So anyway, I just kind of noticed I had a knack I just wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid. So I feel like just that confidence in itself gave me a little bit of a boost over everybody else because went up there like, yo, what? Yo, you know what I mean? Blah, 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 blah. And then one thing I did learn is at this time I had already started learning how to memorize phrases or lines. And I was doing that accidentally by just working on music. But now I learned that this kind of served me well in battle rapping because I could be like, oh, okay, I see these guys in the crowd. I got a couple, it wasn't like full rhymes, but it was like lines.
Right.
Um, so I think, first of all, that part right there, just learning how to memorize hot bars and have hot bars just kind of tucked away in the back of my brain and knowing that. And then as time grew on, I started doing other little battles only because I didn't really understand what I was doing, but I knew that I was pretty good at it because that battle itself, I almost won it. It was just down to me and one other guy, and whoever was the winner would get sent to New York. But
Mm.
I didn't get that opportunity, but then I also end up getting other battles like the Blaze battle and those type of things. And I start hanging around other guys that were from other regions in the world, Detroit, New York, all over. And I started noticing something different between how we did things on the West Coast and how things were on the East Coast. And another thing, what I learned was a lot of cats on the East Coast, when we were doing, and I had an OG, he was a few years older than me. I don't know if you guys may remember this guy. His name was E-Dub. And E-Dub, he actually won the Blaze battle back in 2000 or something. You know, the OGs know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And E-Dub was like, yo, Lot, your shit is dope. He was one of the first people to show me love. But I kind of learned from him. He was like, look, this is how you need to do it. You need to have your shit mapped out. You know what I'm saying? Have your bars ready. Like the freestyling off the dome is cool, but when you got an opponent ready you got to have your shit ready to go. You know what I mean? And then I watched how he did it, and I see him win the Blaze battle. I'm like, okay, I got to step my writing up. You know what I'm saying? The memorizing a couple bars is cool, especially if you don't know who you're battling. But when you going into this war ready mentality, you got to have your bars ready. So that's when I kind of started structuring my bars, and obviously that had um it had an effect on what I would later, particularly like my mentality. I don't know if my writing style, but definitely my mentality moving forward.
Yeah.
Then when I start doing the actual, then battling had evolved. You know, you get into like 2006, 2005, I'm looking at Smack DVDs with Serious Jones and Murder Mook. And by then I had stopped battling, but I saw what they was doing and I was like, yo, I wanted to battle again. I was like, yo, this shit is so dope. Like, they're not using no beat. They're just going a cappella. It's very conversational. So I wanted to get into that. So it just so happened. But my mind frame wasn't fully adapted to the new style. And I'm just gonna be completely candid. I remember I went to New York. This is what I want to say 2006.
Mhm.
And I actually ran into Murder Mook, you know what I'm saying? And super cool dude, him and his people. And we were like, yo, we trying to do this, we trying to do that. And they put us in touch with Nick from Fight Club. And Fight Club was big, you know, that was a big battle league. So anyway, Fight Club had a battle and it was like, yo, they saw my stuff. It's like, yo, this you like it's nice. It's like, all right, we're gonna do a battle. And they set up a battle for me. I didn't really know who I was battling, but then you know, they told me a couple days forward, you're gonna be battling this guy named Iron Solomon. You know what I'm saying? And at this time, I had never heard of Iron Solomon. And I didn't even understand YouTube yet. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know that there were battles on YouTube. So make a long story short, they set up a battle. I walked into this battle, Fight Club with Iron Solomon, and I just got my head torn off. You know what I'm saying? Because and this is no not to discredit Iron Solomon, but his understanding of battling had evolved past what I was doing from 2 years. Because mind you, I hadn't battled in like 3 or 4, you know, like maybe like 3 years.
Yeah.
So battling had evolved from just kind of like memorizing lines and doing this to having understanding your opponent, studying your opponent, going into this very seriously. So I walked in and he set me up so cold. You know, he did he kind of spit his first round was kind of like, oh, whatever. And I just went in and did it with my little raps and it was cute. And then he just started chopping me to pieces like I walked into a buzzsaw. And but it was such a great learning experience for me. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna learn from this. I'm gonna study and I'm gonna go back home. And I studied all these guys on the internet now. Now I'm a student again. I'm
Mm.
studying. So I really think, and you know, and I end up getting back into battle rapping and I end up doing grind time. And you know, I battled Disaster and Daylight and some other cats. And I got my name up as a battle rapper. People's like, yo, this guy Locksmith is dope. Um, so, but I always wanted to bring it back to the music. So I used it
Yeah.
as a tool for promotion, particularly at the time. I was like, I'm going to use this to build my name on YouTube and the internet because I noticed in 2009, 2008, 2009, that's how you built your name up. So I feel
Facts.
like I took that as part of the mentality. I didn't really, to be completely honest, I don't think, maybe on a subconscious level, but I didn't knowingly take the way I battle rapped. I didn't translate that into the way I wrote songs. You know what I'm saying? I think
Because
the
you were
way I,
doing songs before battling.
yeah, because I think my
Got you.
songs translated into my battle raps. You know what I'm
Got you.
saying?
Fair.
More so. So to answer that question, and as far as doing something like stuff with Sway, or these radio type of freestyles, that I've done, K Slay, rest in peace. You know, I just take it very seriously. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I take it, I don't, because I was such a huge fan of like the Wake Up Show,
Yeah.
listening to Crooked Eye, listening to Cannabis, Razzcazz, Nas, uh, even Jane, all these cats. So when I see dudes go and do radio freestyles, and then in the later years, you start seeing Kendrick, J. Cole, even Mickey, Royce the 5'9", uh, Slaughterhouse, all these guys who I hold in high Black Thought, hold in high regard. I see what they do, and it just pushes me to want to be like, okay, when I go in here, I'm not playing around, or I'm not going to do it at all. But it took time. When I used to come up there, I would have a few bars and I would stumble, and people would be like, oh, this is dope. But I knew when I was on, it left such a great impression. When I did go up there and I was on and I was ready to go, I was just like, you know what? Either I'm going to do it right or I'm not going to do it at all. So, and I'm very strategic about when I do it. I don't go up there a bunch of times. I may do this, a couple, once a year, maybe 2, 3 times a year at the most. You know what I'm saying? Whether I'm gonna go to these spots, because when I go in, I want it to be legendary to the best of my ability. So I just go into there that mentality, and I take it very seriously. And every time I do it, and my mentality is I want to raise the bar. I want to raise the bar. That's the mentality that I go into it with.
Dope. Appreciate you.
No, for sure, man.
Wow, man, these answers are so in depth and informative. I already know the next question and the next answer is going to be outrageous. We have our mental health specialist, Professor Jeff Walker of Rhymecology, who's going to ask you the next question.
For sure.
Peace. First of all, Niner gang since Roger Craig, Dwight
Yee!
Clark, and Wendell Tyler.
Yeah, man. I'm
So
ready for Sunday.
I had to pull it. I appreciate what you're doing, obviously.
That jersey is fire too.
Yeah, this is legit. Thank you. So, as Mickey said, I run Rhymecology, which is basically, it's like the hip hop mental health and therapy space of Pendulum Inc. So we get into a lot of deep topics, a lot of emotional topics. And to me, you're one of the few out there who actually uses your platform to help educate, to help us actually get to thinking about, whether it's politics, whether it's medical tyranny, socioeconomic stuff. But the way that you do it is you don't preach at us. You actually present two sides and get us thinking, which it's like a throwback KRS Chuck D to me. So my question is why do you think that so few MCs are doing that and can talk about those topics? And how can we change that?
I think that most likely what it is I don't think it's particularly exclusive to MCs. I just think it's humans in general. Like not everybody is willing to not everybody either they don't know or they're just not willing to look at themselves inwardly, outwardly, in any way. That's the difficult thing. You live in your life. People got families, people got jobs, people got whatever thing they're going on in life. Sometimes people don't have the ability, or they're not willing to put the effort for it to even say why. You know what I'm saying? Why is this? Why is that? Why am I doing this? Not everybody is like that, and that's fine. And I think that if let's just say there's only a small percentage of humanity, 5% of humanity that's doing that, or however, 10% of humanity that's doing that. Well, now from the MC pool, now you're taking that percentage out of that, so it's only so much that you're going to get out of that. I try not to hold hip hop to some, standard. I feel like, of like whatever content, I feel like there are principles that you have to follow in order for it to be hip hop, obviously. But at the same time, this is America. Even though, obviously hip hop is global, but I can only speak from my, perspective here in America. Only certain people can only even deal with these type of things or whatever is going on. So you can't blame hip hop. This is just indicative of the state that we're in. Everybody's not willing to ask why. I know in my music, I feel like there's kind of two techniques that I kind of use when approaching, whether it's just a verse or song or whatever. It's like when you're saying something, you want to be either, you want to have a thesis, you know, just like when you're writing a paper, you know what I mean? You have to have a thesis. So that's, you know, and the more, but it's when you're doing art, it's kind of almost better to be more opinionated, because there are some people who are going to be like, I agree with that opinion. There's going to be somebody, I hate that opinion, but you've invoked an emotion. Or what I try to do a lot of times, ask questions. You know what I'm saying? And present the questions and be like, okay, well, what's going on with this? Why is this? So, you know what I'm saying? With all these dead rappers, who's benefiting from it? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, just like, so some person might take that in one way and be like, oh, it means this to me. And but that's art, you know? So I try to ask the question. I try to hold the mirror up, and let people come up with their own conclusions. I feel like that's a good technique for me. But sometimes you gotta like be like, all right, no, I'm saying this. Fuck your opinion. This is my opinion. Agree or disagree. This is what it is. But I feel like you kind of got to either do both, one or the other, or just kind of stay away from it.
And I'll just say that I think you really, you know, you really encapsulated that. Like you really do that. And that's what I said. Like you present it like a question to make us think, you know, ask, teaching us dogs or cats. Why is that? Right. You're bringing that back. So,
sure.
So thank you. Keep it up. We need it in this world, man. We need it in this world, this society, and hip hop culture especially. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Much love.
Next question, Professor Rob he's our curriculum editor and our creative writing professor. What's up, Rob?
Locksmith, thank you for being here with us. This is a real honor to have you in class here. Thank you. So I have like 20 questions, but I'm gonna keep it real practical.
It's all good.
Ask you one. I was going through all the questions, but this one I'm asking for our students, right? Because I know that many of our students aspire to go up to like a Sway or a Hot 97 and kick that freestyle or whatever, right? And we're all seeing the most recent one you did, which to me is just like a masterpiece.
Thank you so much.
Brilliant work. I love what you said about Chat GPT. Y'all write y'all rhymes with Chat GPT, like the current events, like all that. But this freestyle was mad like long and detailed and precise. You're like it's like razor blades, like
Thank you.
math, pyramids, geometry. Like my question for you is, how do you memorize this? Like, can you give us a tip or two on how can we memorize? Was this like 10 minutes or whatever? Like, how do you do that? You know what I'm saying? If there's any practical tips that you can give us for this, I think we would all appreciate that.
Nah, it's all good. So like I can only, you know, I can only go back to myself, my personal way of how I did it. So I'm not like some advocate to tell everybody to do this, but I don't write my rhymes like physically down. You know what I'm saying? I've never done that with pen and paper. That's fine if people do it. I mean, I started off doing that like my very early stages of rapping. But I kind of developed the style, and I remember reading articles about Jay-Z and Biggie. I think it was a Source magazine. It was like, they don't write their rhymes. I was like, what? You know, I think it was like 97. I was like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. I was like, there's no way they're not writing. They're lying. You know what I'm saying? They're right, you know. But what happened was, when I first started off, I was in a group with a couple of guys, and we used to go to our homie's house every weekend to rap, and they were more advanced than me. And when they wrote, their handwriting, their notebooks looks like something just like, it just was beautiful. Like it just looked right. Like their raps and my raps weren't there yet, but I had a little flair of here and there, and I was trying to get better, but I just hated the way my handwriting looked, and I just wasn't up to their part. So basically what happened was, we would go to our friend's house, and I knew we were going to rap on a beat. He would bring up a beat. But a lot of times we would go there and he would pull up a beat, and we would take a trip across the street because he lived right near a mall. So we would go walk around the mall, and I knew that when we got back, they were advanced to me. So they were very quick with writing. So what I started doing, I started writing for the song while we were at the mall hanging out. You know what I'm saying? So I just started coming up with lines. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, I know this is what the beat sound like, or I'm gonna start getting these rhymes ready. So at least when we start writing, I'll be 4 bars ahead of them. You know what I mean? Just so I can keep up with them. So that was one technique. Then, you know what I mean? So I would just memorize 4 bars. And then what happened is over time, I would commit to writing the whole thing in my head. And I would go and write it down on paper, and then I would record it. Well, one day I forgot my notebook at the studio, and I was just like, well, I already got it memorized. Do I need to write it? And I was like, I'm just going to try it without the notebook. And I just did it. And it actually, for me, it felt more natural to be in the recording booth rapping without the notebook. And I did mess up, and I did have to kind of do that, but that was just the beginning stage. But then I kind of started learning some of the mess ups weren't mess ups. They were a part of just my delivery and how I was doing it. Now, and I'm not saying that, oh, it's good. I'm not throwing it together. I'm writing it. You know what I'm saying? I'm very meticulous, but I'm just taking the time to do it in my head. So that means by the next time, after doing this for about 3 months, by the next time we went to our friend's house, I'm memorizing the whole verse, so I don't have to memorize a whole song, but I can memorize 8 bars to 12 bars and eventually 16 bars. And I just got good with that over, I don't know, maybe a year, because like I'm in a group. So there's 3 of us. So that's 116 apiece. So all I had to do was remember 16 bars. So then the group dwindled down from 3 people to 2 people. So now I got to remember 16 and an 8. You know what I mean? Essentially. So I can add 8 to it. You know what I mean? And then as time grew on, it's like, oh, like you need to do a solo song. I was like, okay, well, now I'm going to remember 2 16s. You know what I'm saying? Or 2.5 16s. And that, so it just grew over time. I started developing, and then that's just how I did all my songs. So, you fast forward to by the time I start doing these freestyles, or, early on, it was just going up there, kicking a verse, a 16, kicking 2 verses. All right, that's 32 bars. Kicking, 2 minutes. Okay, well, that's, 48 bars or whatever. Then, as time goes on, the more you can do, the more people are like, yo, this shit is crazy. So it just developed over time. And I think the fact that I was always memorizing my verses before I went to record them developed that style to always be able. So when I was able to go to somewhere like K-Slay, somewhere like Sway, it's kind of a muscle memory that I've already developed over time. So it's not something I can just be like, oh, I just did it every, what I mean? It's like, nah, this is developed over years. And then by the time it came to 2024, it's like, all right, this is kind of what I do all the time anyway, just memorizing. But I'm writing it. I'm sitting down, writing it in my head. I write it in my head. I commit it to memory. And I always told myself, especially particularly early on, because another thing was I worked as a server. I was waiting tables and shit like that. And it's very hectic, but I would be rapping, while I would come up with lines, but I didn't have time to write it down. So I just committed it to memory. And then I would always be like, oh, well, what if I forget it? But at that time, I was like, look, if it's dope, I'm not going to forget it. If it's a dope punchline, I'm not going to forget that. I'm going to be thinking about it while I sleep. So I just kind of always committed to that. Like, yo, if it's dope, you're not going to forget it. And that's the way I kind of do it. But now we got phones. Everybody got a little recorder. So now I might, what I mean? I'll just, if there's something, like if I got a 16 that's dope and I know I'm going to have a busy week and I'm not going to be able to get to it, I'll just, I'm committed to my head, and then I'll record it just in case I forget the cadence or certain words or certain things, the way I said it. I'm like, yo, that was really good. I'll record it to a voice memo or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But 9 times out of 10, once it's in there, it's in there. You know what I mean?
Thank you. That was excellent.
For sure. No, I appreciate it.
So one more question before we have the people in the Zoom class ask a question.
For sure.
You are an independent artist.
Yeah.
And you've been one for God knows how long, right? Your journey should be studied, right? Because to go from waiting tables to then battling to then putting out content and then putting out music and then touring, Like that is the dream for a lot of the people in here. What is the one thing that you can leave with us here in terms of a gem that can assist someone looking to live off of their art?
Oh, a gym. I guess the biggest gem is consistency, man. Like you got like this. I knew this shit wasn't easy, but for me, it started with the love of doing it. Like when I was going, like I said, when I was going to my homie's house and memorizing those first bars and doing that every week, I did it because it's just like, yo, this is the best shit in the world to me. Like this was fun. Like you know what I'm talking about when you just rapping and you just fall in love with the process of rapping and recording and doing it and hearing people, and you take it to the barber shop and people's like, yo, this shit is, you know what I mean? You see, so I just fell in love with, first of all, getting good. I just wanted to get good. I wanted to hone my craft. And then I fell in love, and then I had something to say. Well, like, what am I saying? And I just always dwelled on that. Even when things get tough, even when, because success is going to be, no matter what level you at, success is going to be up and down. You know this, you know what I'm saying? From having deals, I've had deals, from touring to not touring to all these different things. But I never got into it for that in the first place. I got into it because I love the art form and the process of doing it. So that allowed me to stay consistent. And I feel like if I develop this skill set, no matter what happens in the world, there is a group of people that can appreciate this art. And as long as I continue to do that, no matter what medium it is, whether it's Zoom, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Snapchat, whether it's, you know what I'm saying, Instagram, TikTok, it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? I'm on all of it, but I'm gonna find a way to market it, what I do on any of those vehicles. So just staying consistent with, I just think consistency, man. You just got to stay at it.
Amazing, amazing. So the next phase of this class, we're going to open the floor for the people in the crowd to ask questions for you. They're going to ask all questions like what we asked, but more, lyricism based. If you're in the crowd, please raise your hand via the Zoom prompts. No follow-up questions, one question, because there's 80 of you guys in here. And I'm gonna just ask Locksmith, because it is 9:40. If you can just shorten it, because there's gonna be so many people wanting.
Oh yeah, my bad, man. I just be going on. My bad.
Nah, it's cool. We love long-winded. Professors.
Yeah,
It's a lot of people in here.
yeah. I'm gonna try to get through it. I'll try to get through it.
Okay, cool. So here we go. Our first question is coming from our salutatorian of this year, Euphonic. What's up?
What's up, Professor Locksmith? This has been great class so far. I just saw you with Cannibal Ox in LA a little while ago. Been listening for a long time. But so your rhymes are so dense all the time. I was wondering if you planned them out. And I know you said you didn't write, but like, do you have like a beginning, a middle, and an end when you go into this?
It all depends. If it's a song, if there's a song with a specific topic, yes. If it's like, if I'm going in to do a freestyle, no. That's the beauty of like doing a freestyle. I almost look forward to those type of things because I can do whatever I want to do. I can jump around, I can come back, I can move around in whatever way I want to do. That's the beauty of a freestyle. That's why it's called a freestyle. You know what I mean? Because it's free of any particular style or subject. You can do whatever you want. So, but when there's a song, particularly if it's conceptual, beginning, middle, end. There's one song that I have, America, where there are specific things like that. I didn't write the rhymes out, but I will make notes. And I'll be like, I want to talk about these things. I'll be like, okay, abortion, voting rights, this type of thing. You know what I mean? So I'll do that and I'll be like, okay, when I finally do decide to sit down and formulate these bars in my head and write them, I'm going to make sure I hit 1, 2, 3, 4. I got to hit at least 7 out of these 10 topics. You know what I mean? And I know I want to end it like this. So I do that when it's songs, but not when it's like a freestyle type of situation.
Got it. Thank you.
For sure.
Amazing, amazing. Next question, Pensman Prof.
Peace. All the way from Bermuda. Been a fan since I saw you battle on MTV years ago. Um, yeah. Well, my question to you, just kind of seeing that, like, you've been in that arena before. Is there anything, or have you seen it evolve to a point where you might even consider stepping back in the ring at some point?
You know, if I don't, you're talking about battle rapping, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I don't follow it. I don't follow it anymore. I mean, I'm aware of like when big things happen, I see it across, your feed or whatever. But yeah, it's just I gotta do things that's authentic to me. Like I have such a respect for the battle rap arena because when I was battling, I was focused on battling. Like I took it very, whatever I do, I take it very seriously. So when I was battling, I was like, yo, I'm trying to come in here and do damage. So I was very, it's like boxing almost. It's like, yo, you gotta focus, that mentality. So because I take it that seriously, I wouldn't want to half-ass it. I wouldn't want to, you know what I mean? Because I know I'm so focused on doing music, touring, and these type of things that's what I want to do. But if the urge ever came, I'll never say never, but if the urge came where I like, yo, I want to do this again, I would do it. You know what I mean? Because when I was battling, I never got no money. I was just doing it because I want to do it. Now folks is making money. I mean, I've been offered, but it hasn't been enough to be like, all right, because if I battle, I want to like make my mark known. I want to just come in here. I got to study it. I got to watch it for months. Like I haven't watched it. So I know I can't just, I'm not arrogant enough to think I can just jump in and do what I want to do. So I have too much respect.
All right. Appreciate it.
For sure.
Yeah, next question. Next question, Elaine, it's on you.
Hey, I'm major fan. I enjoy your stuff from when you were doing it on Team Backpack, and I thought that stuff was great. My question, thank you. My question for you is, like for the new Sway freestyle that you did, how far in advance did you find out about it? Like, was it like something that you booked, like just like the behind the scenes stuff for that? How far in advance did you hear about it, and then did you start prepping for the actual freestyle, and to have it like finally put out? What was that process like? Thank you.
So usually when I'm at a I mean I've known Sway for many years. He's from the Bay Area before he was even I knew him from the Wake Up Show days and being from the Bay. So I have a relationship with him. I happened to bump into him and I was like, yo, I want to come up, I'm coming because he was on there like I think a couple weeks prior and he was showing me love. I was like, yo, I gotta come back up there. But when you get to a certain level, like, especially when I'm like done with my album, I'm at the end of an album cycle, that's when I go into like, okay, I'm gonna have to start making my runs. I'm gonna try to hit up these different platforms and do what I do. So I start getting these bars ready. But if you're asking me how long did it take me to prepare bars, I mean, I'm doing it. I might I might come up with a 16 and just store it away, or another 16, store it away, take a break. I went on tour, you know what I mean? Came back, all right, let's get back to that. Let's get another 16, you know what I'm saying? Let's put it together. And I'm putting it together. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't really know when it started, maybe like a year, but it's not like having a year of that whole thing. I'm just storing lines in my head. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, this is about this. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to tuck that away. I'm not going to put this in a song. I'm just going to use this for bars. It's just kind of random. It's just like it's not a physical journal, but it's like a mental journal that I'm jarring like, oh, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about that. This doesn't make sense to me. This doesn't make, or certain things in a song that I touched on in a song, but I know when I go on a freestyle, I can rap 3 minutes just about this one thing. You know what I mean? Because it's a freestyle, so I don't have to like kind of condense it into, a verse or, a half of a verse. So, yeah, it's just a process. I'm just piecing it together over, X amount of time. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Thank you. I appreciate you answering my question.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Big Mike, it's on you.
Professor Locksmith, big time fan. Shout out my guy Lou, who put me on to you in like '06 out the suburbs of Franklin, Mass. With all that being said, For a person who's been going crazy on every radio station, like a disgruntled employee for the past 2 decades, and with the music, how has your preparation changed over time?
Preparation for what exactly?
It's Well, it was mind-boggling learning that I have to learn how to write in my brain. So thanks for that. But
No, you don't
just
have to
as
do that. I'm just saying you don't have to do that.
but just as far as like musically, you've been going crazy, and then just as an MC, like what's a training look like if we're gonna use boxing as an analogy?
Training. I just try to I try to make time. Let's just, since we're talking about this freestyle, this is the latest thing that I've done. I just try to make time for those type of things. Like even if I'm like because writing songs is sometimes a little bit different. It's like a vibe. There's so many different approaches and things like, you know, um, it just, it could be, there's no right or wrong, because art is subjective. At the end of the day, this is art. So this subject, whether you're writing it down, whether you go in there vibing off of it, whether you added melody and all those type of things, that's all dope. But we're talking about as far as like lyricism training, doing things like something like Sway in the Morning or these type of freestyles. Like I like these type of things keep me sharp. You know what I'm saying? Because when you go to a show, when I'm performing at a show, it's particularly if it's your show. Like, let's just say, I'm the headliner. I have a show in New York. I have a show in LA or wherever. People are coming to see me. That means they're already familiar with my music. I don't have to do too much to win them over. I mean, obviously I'm gonna give the best show, but I ain't got to do too much to win them over. I'm gonna do what I do. So, you go up there, you perform your songs, it feels great. That's a great feeling. But when you are battle rapping or you're going to a cipher, the pressure is on you. You know what I mean? Like you have to, so that's a pressure that that's a little bit, that's the part of the emceeing of that pure hip hop that I long for. You know what I mean? So every so often I got to do that. You know what I mean? I got to go up there and do that so I can be like, all right, I got that off. That's just that MC in me. So like sitting at home, driving around, thinking of bars, coming up with bars that I know that niggas is gonna be like, oh, that shit was crazy. Like, dude, did you hear the levels in this? And like, oh, he's speaking some real shit, or this is making motherfuckers like. That's that part of me. Like when I rap, I'm gonna say this last thing of this question. Like I rap when I rap so people, I don't want people to be like, I can do that. I want people to be like, yo, I don't want to rap no more. Like that's my goal. When I go on a rap like that, I want people to be like, yo, I'm done. Like when I heard Cannabis rap, when I heard Eminem rap, Big L, I was like, yo, I don't want to do this no more. You know what I'm saying? I remember the first time I heard Eminem on Sway on the Wake Up Show in like 99 or something. I was like, yo, what the fuck are we gonna do? Like, I was like, what are we gonna do? I don't know what to do now. When I heard Cannabis do 100 bars, I was like, yo, what are we gonna do? This nigga is killing the game. There's nothing more. So I'm always striving for that. You know what I'm saying? Not when I'm making songs necessarily. Songs is different. Songs, I want to convey a message. But when I'm going into that other mode, that's the feeling I want. I want people to be like, yo, this nigga's making me mad. I don't want to work with him. That's what I want.
Woo, fire. My job wouldn't exist without people like you. So shout out you, my God.
No, it's all love.
Yeah. Great question, Big Mike. Next question, Nathan Gravely. What's up, brother? You're on mute, Nathan.
Oh, sorry about that. Peace to everybody. Big fan. I just want to say, is there any like techniques or mental exercises that you use to help with memorization?
A little bit at a time. You know what I'm saying? Just memorize. Like I said, I started off memorizing a line, a punch line. Then it became 2 lines. That's a whole rhyme. Then it became, 4 lines, which is like, 2 bars, or you know what I mean? Like you just start like that. If you can get that. Now, mind you, not everybody ain't the best. Like I've heard Sway say, like, yo, Nas is one of the illest in the world, but Nas needs to write his shit down. He needs to sit there and write it and look at it and rap. That's his thing. You know what I'm saying? So everybody is different. I just had a good memory, I guess. And I just used that technique over years. So little bit at a time, 2 bars at a time, 4 bars, 8 bars, so on and so forth. If you can memorize 16, my thing is like, and I don't look at it as memorization. I look at it as like puzzles. Like if I can remember the first bar, then I should be able to remember the next bar. And the next bar will lead to the next bar. When I do record, when I do stumble, when I do these type of things, usually it's because the two things that the verses weren't connected. I kind of pieced 2 things together that didn't naturally do it. You know what I'm saying? So, and that doesn't happen often, but sometimes that do happen, but it's usually because the thought, it wasn't a continuation of a thought, it was the next thought, you know? So if I'm writing, let's just say, I say, today I want to write 1 minute worth of a rap. Well, if I can get that whole minute done, then that whole minute is one long 1 minute thought. I'm going to remember that if I piece it all together. It's going to, because each rhyme leads to the next thing, or each, you know what I'm saying? Like, never put your faith in a flaky nigga. I'm head and shoulders above these artists. You know what I mean? Like flaky head and shoulders. You know what I'm saying? That's just like a connection. You know what I'm saying? And then never let them scalp you. You know what I mean? Like these are all things that are connected. So one after the other, I'm not gonna forget that scheme because they all connect. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
For sure.
Great question, Nathan. Thank you very much. Next question. Hey, Fredo, what's up, brother?
What's up, man? Yo, Lot, I just wanted to say, I wanted to ask.
Fredo, you be doing my challenges. I remember you.
Yeah, salute. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, what was the thought process behind that on Hypocrites when you said ignorance is paradise, this yellow tape, weren't these bullets is parasites?
Yeah, ignorance is basically like, the saying that ignorance is bliss. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
People would rather not know about it and just live happily, long as they don't have to know about the hard shit in the world that's going on. But the flip side of that, or the outcome is like people are dying, and these bullets are like yellow tapeworms. I mean, yellow tape, that's just, a play on the words, like the yellow tape and tapeworm. So it's like both of them are eating up your insides. You know what I'm saying?
Got you. Yeah, fire, dope, crazy punchline too.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Salute.
Yes, yes. Great, great, great. Next question. Gavin. What's up, Gavin?
Yo, peace. I was wondering, like, what do you go to for creative inspiration? Like, what's your source of creative inspiration? Because for me, like, mostly what I do, I get my ideas from reading, or just interactions that I have in my everyday life, or like interviews, just natural life experiences. So, like, what do you typically draw from, or is there something out of the normal that you draw from?
No, it's every day. I mean, it's watching shit, it's reading shit. I try to stay away from like, oh, I'm going to read something so I can write something. I don't try to put that type of pressure on myself. I just try to ingest information, and I know it'll come out in some way or another. You know what I mean? Conversations that I have with people, especially people who I feel like are smarter than me, or some people that I have something to learn from. I try to take that. A lot of times one of the biggest compliments that I've gotten from people are like OGs in the game, or mentors, or people, they'd be like, yo, Lot, you took exactly what we was talking about and you put it in a rap. Like, to me, that's the best shit. And that's usually the shit that people feel the most. You know what I'm saying? Like the double entendres and those type of things, those are just like, to me, those are cherries on top. That's for people like us who just love, you know what I'm saying, the art of lyricism. But the conversation, to me, the content, the subject matter that's the point of it all. You know what I'm saying? When you're playing with words, that's the icing. You know what I'm saying? That's the flexing. That's just like, oh shit, he conveyed 2 things at once. You know what I mean? But the actual substance, the point of what you're trying to make, the conversation, is the most important thing. So I try to take conversations. I feel like that's what I love the most. You know what I mean? Is the conversation, being able to talk about something. Like, to me, the best shit is like not even the double entendre shit. It's the shit that's just like, I'm talking about something and you can feel it. It don't need to be that. Like, nah, I'm not trying to give you no tricky wordplay. I'm trying to tell you, like, yo, this is what it is. And it's like, woo, that hit. So, yeah, I get it from conversations. I get it from everyday life.
Word, I appreciate that, bro.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Gavin. Next question. Rags. What up, Rags?
Yo, what's up, guys? Hi, Mr. Locksmith. Pleasure. Thank you for your time, man. Appreciate it.
Man, you look like Darth Vader. You look like Kylo Ren with that hood on.
Yo, dog, that's the look I'm going for, so good
Yeah.
thing. So really quick, my question is there a specific way as an independent to create successful lineup and promotion to make people line up in the manner of flooding the area with flyers or time and place paired with your presentation, especially when it feels like you feel your following isn't supporting enough, making it rough for putting shows together and venue importance? Because time is money, but also have to mind the weather. Thoughts?
So I feel like basically you're asking me, how do you develop a following? How do you get people to come out and support you in one way or another?
Specifically when you're like putting like also a bunch of other people that have a small following too, because out here in El Paso and Las Cruces, you deal with a lot of no shows and fans that are even supporting you online and stuff. So
Yeah. Well, sometimes you got to go outside of your area. I think that's the beauty of the internet. I feel like the main tool that people should utilize right now, because it's free, while it is still free, is these social media platforms or these platforms, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever. Like you can connect with people all over the world. Like even myself, like I've been myself, Mickey, and as well as other folks in here, we've been in the game long enough to know the game before there was the internet or the internet as it is now in this iteration. So this is like easy compared to the way we had it. Like there was you couldn't just upload a song. You couldn't just do this. So now I spend probably about 50% of my time just looking at shit on Instagram, looking at shit on TikTok, saying like, okay, why is this working for this person? Why is it, you know what I mean? And being like, okay, how can I utilize this for me? Because if you do that, some people are going, you don't need to be on any platform. You can create your own platform. And if it's dope, if you stay dope and you stay consistent on these platforms, your following is going to find you and they're going to bring you wherever they are because they're going to want you. But you got to have faith and you got to have consistency and you got to be dope with that. Sometimes you ain't even got to be dope. But if you are dope and you're consistent, the following will find you and they will but you got to watch, you got to listen to what people are telling you to a certain degree and be like, oh, this is where they like me at. Let me go over there,
thank you. I appreciate that. And I hope to continue hearing projects from you till life's over. So appreciate
Hey,
you, man.
that's the goal.
All right, 4 more questions and we done. Chaos, what's up, brother? It's on you.
Yeah, what's up, Locksmith?
Peace.
Thank you for pulling up tonight. Big respect from the UK. So my question kind of leads off from what Gavin was saying. With the concept songs that you put together that are really in depth, how much of it is, speaking on stuff that you already know, versus researching a subject to get all the points across?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't really do that. I usually talk about stuff because songs don't, it depends on what kind of song it is. So if there's a song that's dealing specifically with like, yo, I have to quote actual facts, then I might be like, you know what, let me go back and freshen up my facts. So I'm not sitting there sounding stupid. But for most of the time, I'm giving my opinion on the facts. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving my opinion on the events that are happening or that have taken place. So for that, you don't necessarily need research, but from time to time, I will go and be like, I want to talk about this. But I don't, because sometimes there's a lot of information that I have in my head from learning in school or just learning on my own where I want to quote it or I want to talk about it, but I'd be like, I hope I'm not saying that wrong. And then I might go back and double check and be like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? This isn't, you know what I mean? But for the most part, I like to ingest the information, let it live with me and just let it come out naturally. You know what I mean? But there have been time to time where I will be like, you know what is that about? Let me go look it up. Oh, okay, that's dope. That's going to be a dope rap. And I'll do that. But for the most part, I like to ingest it.
Cool. Appreciate you.
So,
next question from my guy who I haven't seen in so long, Master Inferno. What's up, brother?
Yo, what's good, Lock? Yo, y'all can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yo, what's good, Lock, man? Yo, been following your journey, inspiring my pen from like, the battles to like, and my favorite record from you is Hallelujah and Take Me Away. Amazing,
Wow.
amazing work.
Much
All
love.
up to date. But my question to you, maybe a little loaded, but basically, I'm curious on how you develop your delivery because I think you have like top 5 delivery I've
Thank
heard ever. Like your delivery is just so like this so on point. And also leading to my follow up in regards to like when you're sequencing an album, right? There's so much different directions, and I know you don't write, but how do you tackle, in a sense, when you're sequencing? How do you know which song's ready and when it's done? Because you can write a million bars and go off the rails. Like, how do you know, like, yo, this is done? Is it through a feeling or a thought or both?
So I'm gonna answer the second question first. It's just confidence. You got after you do it for a while, you feel confidence. You feel like, okay, I feel like I said what I had to say. And then you can let other people hear it. But at the end of the day, it's your decision, and you feel that confidence. You develop like, okay, I feel good enough, like this is done. And then as far as developing my delivery, I think it's just a combination of everything. My sister was an MC. You know what I mean? So she was a very like outspoken, like, yo, in your face type of MC. You know what I mean? So that probably has some effect on me. And then all the people that I love, you know what I mean? Like that influence my Nas, Jay-Z, Cannabis, Eminem over time. Like, you know what I'm saying? These are the things. And I'm trying to perfect my delivery and my cadences. And so I'm looking at other people. I'm looking at the newer cats that I respect. And you know what I mean? I'm still trying to add more tools to the toolbox. So I think it's a combination of all those things.
Yo, thank you for answering the question, man. Salute, Lock.
Yes, sir.
And the last question coming from my guy, Cloak the Scribe. What's up, King?
Yo, what's going on, Dean Facts? Lock, what's good, brother?
Peace.
Yo, man, my question to you is, as you know what I'm saying, as a lyricist who's, like you said, you developed yourself to the point where you write in your head. As you were writing in your head, how did you start to incorporate the different techniques as you were developing that skill?
Yeah, so like I said before, I didn't really know what the techniques were. I just knew what they were. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know, I didn't knowingly kind of know. I just listened to we hip hop heads. We love hip hop. We love MCing. We love rapping.
Right.
So whether, I feel like Nas was the first person that I heard that made me want to rap. You know what I mean? So I was listening to his techniques. I didn't know what they were called. I was just listening. I didn't even know how he was doing it, but I just did it long enough till I felt like, people was like, yo, that shit is on par with Nas. I'm like, for real? You know what I mean? Probably wasn't, but it gave me enough confidence moving forward. And then later on, you had people like Cannabis. Then you had with the punchlines and the ill, like just examples of like, how to do stuff. And then eventually like Eminem with the syllables and the flow. And it's like, and then Jay-Z with this like the real life information and doing it in this way. And over time, I just kind of like took pieces of all these, different MCs and even like stuff from back in the day, like Kane and Rakim and, KRS-One. I don't know. I just feel like I just pulled from all the greats and all the people that I admired. And then these skills, I would say this, like, as time go on, like even stuff like double entendres, like I never purposely would try to do the double entendres. They would just kind of naturally happen. And then I noticed how people like reacted to it. I was like, oh, so then over time I started incorporating that more. And then it kind of just like, so I was just like, you know what? Like even going into something like what I just did on Sway, I was like, yo, I want to do a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just like, but I'm going to let it happen naturally. I don't want to force it because to me, I'm not into that. When it's just like, yo, did you hear how you said clock? You know what I mean? like clock fifth. Like I'm like, yo, that's not even really a thing, but motherfuckers just try to make it into something sometimes. To me, I don't want to sacrifice the point of what I'm trying to say just so it can sound flashy. I'd rather get the point. But that's just my preference. Other people do it. It's fucking dope. I love it. But I am conscious of it, particularly when I'm doing something like a freestyle. I want to incorporate it more because that's what something like that is for. It's like, yo, it's like word salad, word fun,
Dope. I appreciate you a lot.
Salute. Salute.
Man, what a class today. Again, for me, we've had so many MCs pull up and teach and share so many different things. And I think tonight was one of those rare nights where we just kind of got so much out of, Professor Locksmith. And I'm sure that out of all the interviews that he's probably dealt with over the years, to just kind of hear people kind of just ask about the craft and ask
Yeah.
about the business, it's a different level of conversation that we as lyricists appreciate, because we love what we do. We spend hours, days, and weeks and months perfecting this thing. And the fact that he is one of those guys that does it on a consistent basis and is consistent and has been consistent, it's a beautiful thing. So we appreciate you. There's something that I'm gonna send to you via DM. Want you to take a look at this. Our brother Pensman Mike drew this of you today, because obviously we had you pull up yesterday. So Mike, could you walk us through this beautiful drawing of my guy Locksmith?
Yes, sir. I'm a hip hop therapist by day, rapper by night, illustrator all the time. And then this is based on the 1,000 Cuts joint. It was an all white background.
Yeah.
And then so I kept it, because usually the colors is based on the album artwork, and then this is all white for that. And then there's a black and white version, and then digitally drawn for yours truly, right?
Man, I appreciate that, man. That's ill.
My God, keep doing what you're doing. Salute.
Thank you, brother. Salute, man. I appreciate every last one of y'all, man. Mickey, bro, thanks for this is so dope, man. I'm just grateful to be a part of it. I've been seeing y'all do this, and I'm gonna have to come in some classes, man. I want to get some of this information, man. So thank you.
The doors are always open and welcome for you, brother. We've had different MCs pull up and just kind of watch and take, and it's like a refresher course. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Grey's Anatomy fan, and the chief of surgery, he goes and takes refresher classes just to tighten up what he's doing and understand what he's doing. So it's all good. You can definitely pull up to any class that you want. If you see any MC that you just want to kind of ask a question for, we can have that happen. So all of the people that have their cameras off, please turn your camera on if you can, and give a long live lyricism with your L's up for my guy, Professor Locksmith, man. Professor Locksmith, thank you. We appreciate you. We love you. Continue to give us the great content that you've been giving us over the past 2 decades.
Thank you, man.
We appreciate you, brother.
Salute.
That is the end of this particular class. Obviously, we have our battle rap class tomorrow with Professor Chilla Jones. He's bringing in female battle MC Coffee Brown. That is happening tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. We will see you guys tomorrow night. Peace out.